A birthday wish comes true. The fluorescent lights of SuperValue grocery store hummed quietly overhead, casting their familiar white glow across the polished floors and neatly arranged shelves. It was early evening on a Tuesday, and the store had settled into that peaceful rhythm between the afternoon rush and the dinner crowd. The soft beeping of checkout scanners mixed with the gentle murmur of conversations and the occasional squeak of shopping cart wheels rolling across the linoleum. Sarah pushed her small shopping cart slowly through the aisles, her 3-year-old daughter Emma walking beside her, tiny hand gripping the side of the cart for balance. Emma's blonde hair was pulled back in a simple ponytail, and she wore her favorite red coat, a hand-me-down from a neighbor that was slightly too big but kept her warm. Her bright blue eyes took in everything around her with the wonder that only small children possess. "Mommy, can we get the cupcakes now?" Emma asked, looking up at her mother with hopeful eyes. Sarah's heart clenched with a familiar mixture of love and worry. Today was Emma's 3rd birthday, and all the little girl had asked for was a cupcake with a candle. Such a simple request, but even that felt like a luxury they could barely afford. Sarah had been working 2 part-time jobs since Emma's father left when she was just 6 months old, cleaning offices at night and stocking shelves at a small convenience store during the day while Emma stayed with their elderly neighbor, Mrs. Patterson. "Yes, sweetheart," Sarah said softly, managing a smile. "We'll get your birthday cupcakes." They made their way to the bakery section, where rows of colorful cupcakes sat behind glass cases like tiny works of art. Emma pressed her face against the cool glass, her breath creating small clouds of fog as she gazed at the treats with pure delight. "Those ones, Mommy." Emma pointed to 2 vanilla cupcakes topped with swirls of white frosting and tiny rainbow sprinkles. "They're so pretty." Sarah looked at the price tag and did quick mental math. With the milk, bananas, and bread already in her cart, plus these 2 cupcakes, she would have just enough from her tip money to cover everything. There would be nothing left over, but seeing Emma's joy made it worth every penny. "Those are perfect choices, baby girl," Sarah said, carefully placing the cupcakes in a small box. "We'll put candles on them when we get home." As they walked toward the checkout lanes, Emma skipped beside the cart, humming a little song she had made up. Despite their struggles, Sarah marveled at her daughter's resilient happiness. Emma found joy in the smallest things, puddles to splash in, dandelions to blow, and now, the promise of birthday cupcakes. They chose the shortest line, behind a well-dressed man in a dark coat who was purchasing what looked like ingredients for an elaborate dinner. Sarah noticed his polished shoes and expensive-looking watch, a reminder of the world of financial security that felt so far from her own reality. When their turn came, Sarah began placing items on the conveyor belt with practiced efficiency: milk, bananas, bread, and finally, the precious cupcakes. Emma stood close by, practically bouncing with excitement. "It's my birthday today," Emma announced to anyone who would listen, her small voice carrying across the checkout area. "I'm 3 years old now." The teenage cashier, whose name tag read, Jake, smiled down at Emma. "Happy birthday. Those cupcakes look delicious. My mommy got them just for me," Emma said proudly, beaming at Sarah. Jake began scanning their items, and Sarah watched the total climb on the small screen. Milk, $2.49. Bananas, $1.12. Bread, 99 cents. When he scanned the cupcakes, Sarah held her breath. "That'll be $8.37, Jake said cheerfully. Sarah's stomach dropped. She had miscalculated. The cupcakes cost more than she had expected, and she was short by almost $2. Her hands trembled slightly as she counted and recounted the crumpled bills and coins from her wallet, hoping somehow the math would work out differently. "I'm sorry," she said quietly, her cheeks burning with embarrassment. "I think I miscounted. Could you take off the cupcakes, please?" Emma's face fell immediately. "But Mommy, it's my birthday." "I know, sweetheart," Sarah whispered, fighting back tears. "We'll find another way to celebrate, okay?" Jake looked uncomfortable, glancing between Sarah and Emma. "Maybe there's a mistake with the pricing. Let me check." "No, it's fine," Sarah interrupted, not wanting to cause a scene. "Just the groceries, please." That's when a gentle voice spoke from behind them. "Excuse me." Sarah turned to see the well-dressed man from ahead of them in line. Up close, she could see he had kind eyes and was probably in his mid-30s. His dark hair was neatly styled, and everything about him spoke of success and confidence. But it was the warmth in his expression that caught her attention. "I couldn't help but overhear," the man said, stepping forward. "Today is this little princess's birthday." Emma nodded solemnly, still disappointed about the cupcakes. "I'm 3 now, but we can't get my birthday cupcakes." The man knelt down to Emma's level, bringing himself to her height. Well, that's not right at all. Everyone deserves birthday cupcakes on their special day. Would it be okay if I helped make sure you get your cupcakes? Before Sarah could protest, the man stood and handed Jake a $20 bill. This should cover their groceries and the cupcakes, with something extra for the birthday girl. Sir, I can't let you, Sarah started, her voice thick with emotion. Please, he said gently, turning to face her. I'm Michael Richardson, and I have a little girl about Emma's age. I know how important birthdays are to children, and I know how hard it can be to make ends meet while trying to give them everything they deserve. Sarah stared at him, overwhelmed by his kindness. This is too much. I don't know how to thank you. You don't need to thank me, Michael said. Just promise me you'll let Emma have the happiest birthday possible. Emma tugged on Michael's coat. Are you sure it's okay? Mommy says we can't take things from strangers. Michael smiled and looked at Sarah, waiting for her permission. After a moment, Sarah nodded, tears streaming down her face. Your mommy is very smart, Michael told Emma. But sometimes, when people want to help just because they care, it's okay to let them. As Jake finished processing the transaction, Michael quietly slipped Sarah his business card. I own a marketing company downtown. We're always looking for reliable people. If you're interested in something with better hours and benefits, please call me. Sarah looked at the card, then back at Michael's sincere face. I don't understand why you're doing this. Because everyone deserves a chance, Michael said simply. And because your daughter's smile reminds me that there's still magic in the world, even on ordinary Tuesday evenings in grocery stores. As they walked out of the store together, Emma clutched her cupcakes carefully in their small box. Mommy, can we light the candles when we get home? Yes, baby, Sarah said, her voice full of hope she hadn't felt in months. We can light the candles and make wishes. Later that evening, as Emma blew out the candles on her cupcakes, Sarah watched her daughter's face glow with pure happiness. The little girl closed her eyes tight and made her wish with the seriousness that only 3-year-olds can muster. What did you wish for, sweetheart? Sarah asked. Emma opened her eyes and grinned. I wished that the nice man would be our friend forever. And I wished that you would stop worrying so much, Mommy. Sarah hugged her daughter close, thinking about the business card tucked safely in her wallet and the unexpected kindness of a stranger who had reminded her that sometimes, wishes really do come true. Not through magic, but through the simple, powerful act of one person choosing to help another when they need it most. In that moment, sitting in their small apartment with birthday cupcakes and new hope, Sarah realized that Emma's wish had already begun to come true.